that's cool. All right, I am back live. Okay, cool. I don't know, I feel like this is a little low, but it'll have to do for now. I think my head's cut off. I don't know, it looks a little, I'm just forever trying to figure out the angle in this car. Let's go more this way. No. Okay. This is going to be a very interesting topic for me. I've been wanting to kind of talk about it for a while. I wish this was like back more. Okay, I'm going to cut this part off anyway. So, okay. Another car chronicle confessions, another car chronicle, another, what should I call it? I don't know, just like car rides with C. Car rides with Ciana. So, okay, this is, I'm going to be very blunt, and it might come off a little rude, so this is a disclaimer. I'm usually love, light, and cotton candy. That's like, I think that's kind of like my temperature gauge. Like whenever there's, you know, when you like set your temperature to like 73, and that's like the perfect temperature for you, and even if it gets a little hotter, gets a little colder, it like always ends up going back to your own temperature gauge. Well, that's like, I'm typically just a kind, super positive, joyful person, but today I'm going to be more blunt, and the reason why is because the people in my life, I love them very much, and when I give them advice, I'm way more cutthroat. Like, I'm way more direct. I'm way more like, you look dumb, you look stupid. Like that's dumb, like straight up. And they're like that with me too. Like, we're very just, it's just what it is. It's just, especially my mom. Like my mom, if you want to know if you look fat in an outfit, ask my mom. Like she doesn't care if you're a supermodel. She doesn't care who you are. She doesn't care if you're having a bad day. If you ask her a question, she's going to give you the true answer to it. Like, yeah, you do look like you gain weight. Yeah, you do look a little fat. I mean, you know, if you want me to be honest, yeah, you do look fat. Like, that's how she is. So I love it. And she's brutally honest with me, and I'm also brutally honest in a kind way, but then sometimes with certain topics, I'm just like, it's just a straight shooter. So this is going to be a straight shooter conversation, and it's not a topic I care to talk about during this season of my life, and it's not a topic that my channel is about. It's about health, fitness, mindfulness, and God, right? So, and for those of you who follow me for a while know that. However, I have gotten a lot of messages that are like, oh, can you talk about relationships? Can you talk about dating? Okay. And so, can you give advice on dating? Can you give advice on relationships? So this is where the bluntness is going to come in. It's a complete disclaimer, so just be prepared. If you are somebody that's coming to my page and already asking about dating advice, and you haven't watched my videos or you haven't read my bio, I am not a relationship coach. I am not a dating coach. I actually do take it as a compliment that someone would want to know my opinion about men, women, relationships, all that. Because obviously there's something in me where you would potentially find value in something that I would tell you. However, if you are asking someone that is not a relationship expert, that is not married, that has nothing in their bio about talking about relationships, talking about dating, talking about marriages, that's where you're already taking an L. Okay? That's where you're already taking an L. So I'm going to give you my advice on what you should do as a single person, because I'm single at the moment. And what I think the problem is that a lot of either single people or people struggling in like toxic relationships or even struggling in really bad marriages, they talk to each other, and it's a bunch of blind leading the blind. Okay? It's a bunch of blind leading the blind. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you to the next level. It's not going to get you a breakthrough. If you are going to your single friend for marital advice, if you're going to your single friend for dating advice, if you're going to someone else that's dating for dating advice, this is my personal opinion, I think that that's where you're already going wrong. So I will tell you what I think that you should do as a single person on the journey of dating, but I'm not going to give like, okay, so when you're on a first date, you should do this. When you're on a and I'll tell you why later on in video, why I'm not going to like do videos like that in this season of my life. So, number one, if you are a single person and you are looking for dating advice, you need to look up dating expert coaches. Like, you need to either seek one out in your community, or you need to go on YouTube and seek out highly recommended people for dating advice, marital advice, and then really analyze, look at their comments, and then see what people are saying. Wow, yep, oh my gosh, this is fire. Yep, I did that last week, that advice, it worked. Like, really go dig deep. In my opinion, this is my opinion, this is not like the rule, but if you want to have a successful dating life, you need to get advice from people that are married and or an actual dating expert where they've like gotten the credentials for it, because they have a lot of data, right? There's a lot of data collection that they've done because they coach so many people and they've seen the same repetitive patterns with people that are unsuccessful in that area. So that's number one. You need to not go to another single person or another person that's dating, or a page or a person that's not talking about dating at all. I think that's very unwise. And again, it kind of tells me with where you're at when you're asking someone that doesn't do content about marriages, dating, or anything about dating. And I'm saying this with love and as like a big sister, because if you want advice about dating, again, that's like the consistent, like, oh, what's your opinion about dating? Give me some advice about dating. What do you think about this in dating? And you really got to sit with yourself and forget about society and sit with yourself and say, okay, do I want to be married? Do I want to just date? Do I want to live out life as a single person? You got to get really, really clear on what you want to do in that arena with your life. And then once you figure out what you want to do, so if you want to be married, only listen to married people and get advice from married people. Only get advice from, a marriage counselor who is married, okay? Get advice from wise counsel in your community, from people that you actually know in your life that are married. If you don't know anybody, there's millions of people on the internet that you can connect with, okay? If you just want to date, and have fun, then you don't really need advice. Like, just be you and go on dates. What you need advice for is when you're trying to get to an outcome. So if you're wanting to end up married, if you're wanting to end up, do you believe in marriage? Do you not believe in marriage? What stage are you at in life? What season are you at in life? Are you just dating to have fun, or are you dating with a purpose? Like, are you having the same repetitive issues in your dating life and you're trying to get married, but you keep having the same repetitive issues where it doesn't work out? Then you need to seek out wise counsel. I'm telling you, from a single person, and that's, most people are like, oh yeah, let me tell you my dating advice. I don't even want to set you up for failure, because as someone who's not a dating expert, I don't want to contribute to the blind leading the blind, which is what a lot of the majority of the dating videos out there are, just like people on podcasts talking about, like, oh my god, I went on this date and like it was like this and it sucked, and like he was like this and she was like that, and and like paying attention to really silly, ridiculous, stupid things. And it's just really sad, because all you really see, it's entertaining, like, just to see them go on these failed dates or talk about these failed dates, but it's not healthy for like society. So am humbling myself and letting you know that, yeah, you know, since I've been on the planet for a decent amount of time, if I knew you directly and I really knew what you wanted to do, I could direct you to resources that will get you, better advice. But I'm not going to be part of the blind leading the blind. Now, if you are single, I'm going to give you some advice of what you should be doing while you're single. And this is just advice that I can give. I can only give what I've gone through and what I'm going through, right? So this is not expert advice. This is just another woman, everyday woman, just like you, that's living life, right? Hi. So if you are single, number one, stop asking other people that are single for dating advice. Okay. Number two is just while you're in this season of being open to dating, you need to understand what you're trying to do. Do you want to be married? Do you not? Okay. Number three, start from head to toe on leveling up everything. Mind, body, soul. So start from literally the crown of your head all the way to the soles of your feet and level up each layer of your body, mind, body, and soul. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so your head. Okay, so in the physical realm, the body realm, hair. What hairstyle can you create for yourself that's going to get you the most confident? Okay? Is your hair healthy? Is your scalp healthy? Right? Do you like your haircut? Do you like the hair color? Do you like the hairstyles? That you like, play around with different styles to get you really confident, so that way when you go on these dates, you feel really confident with your hair. Now, with your crown, with your head, that's the body part, that's the physical part. But the mind, what's your mind? What's going on with your mind? How's your stress level? Right? How is your perception of the opposite sex? So if you're a guy watching this, what do you think about women? If you're a girl watching this, what do you think about men? Like, do you have a negative connotation with men to where you're looking for issues right when you go on a first date? You're already looking for, like, oh yeah, that reminded me of the last guy, or that men are da 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 da, or women just always complain, or da da. It's, where's your mind at? Okay, where's your mind at? All right. And then, so, that pretty much relates to the soul too. So it's really just like, we'll talk about mind and body. So mind and body. So your physical hair, how you want to show up in the world physically when people look at you. And then what's your mind like, right? Have you healed trauma? Have you journaled? Have you gone to therapy if you need to go to therapy? Have you healed from your past relationship? Have you, what do you think about yourself? Like, what's your self-esteem like? What's your confidence like? What do you think about? Okay, because that is gonna play out. You will learn a lot about yourself when you do go and you date. And if you don't have that together before you start dating, then most of the time when you go dating, if your mind ain't right, you're already gonna show up on the date wobbly. Okay, so that's my opinion. That's what I'm doing, right? So just, I make sure every single, anyone that I meet that I've gone on a date with, I wipe the slate clean. Like, I don't bring in any opinions about another date, or maybe just because someone looks similar to the guy I'm going on a date with now. Like, I don't relate the two, nothing. Like, it's just this individual person. And if you're really conjuring up the same people, you need to also reflect on yourself. Truly, if you're always attracting a narcissist, or if you're always attracting, just someone that's like not someone that you'd want to date, someone that's not kind, someone that's not leading with whatever your values that you want. Oh, that's another thing. What are the values that you're looking for in a guy? Physically write it out. Write it all out, okay? How do you feel about yourself? What's your self-esteem like? What do you think about men? Any negative connotation about men, write that out. Where is it coming from? Going into great detail about what you want in a guy, and physical, down to attributes, personality, all that. And, that way you just have an understanding. God is not going to always give you your exact gift, because we don't even know what our best is, right? God only knows that. So you might get 70% of your list, but at least you're aware, right? So get the mind right. Get the mind together. Okay. Okay, we go down further. Eyeballs. Okay, what you see and eyeballs. So, okay, so we're going to talk about the physical first and we're going to go to mind. So we're going to talk about body first and go to the mind. So, eyeballs. If you're a woman, makeup, right? How do you do your makeup? Do you not care to wear makeup, but is like, your eyebrows together? How you do your makeup, does it make you feel confident? Does it make you feel beautiful? Do you like to look at people in the eye? Okay, practice looking at people in the eye contact, confidence. Going back to that confidence piece with how you think with your mind. That's going to really show in your eyeballs, right? So how you do your makeup. Are your eyes like always bloodshot red? Is there any issues with your eyes? Like literally, if you're a single person, and this is gonna be in great detail, because I really feel like you need to work on yourself first before you start just wanting to date, and then you're having all these weird experiences, and then you're searching around on the internet, asking other people for advice about dating, and it's not getting you anywhere, and you don't even know what you want to really be doing in that arena of your life. So literally, do you feel confident with your eyes? Next thing, so this is the mind part. What are you looking at? What kind of content are you consuming? Are you consuming content, male bashing content, women bashing content? Are you watching content that is leveled up content, right? Are you feeding your mind, feeding your spirit, feeding your soul with education, or leveling up in some kind of way, learning a new skill, watching cooking, something that you would do in a relationship. If you want to be married, what are you looking at? Are you looking at cooking ideas? Are you looking at house ideas? I would love to do this with my husband. I would love to do this with my wife. I can imagine myself, like literally visualize how you would want your life to be with like that ideal person, and then start to consume content that is positively oriented in that direction, right? So like visualizing yourself with a partner, watching positive content, not watching, straight up, are you watching weird stuff like porn? Because that's gonna really mess up your discernment, right? Like if you're doing stuff like that, this is no judgment, but like you are looking at it from a very you're gonna go into dating with a distortion. So again, if you're looking for dating to just like live that lifestyle, that's fine. Do you? But I am letting you know that what we consume is literally like we on a subconscious level, we're memorizing, we're downloading the stuff that we're looking at. So are you looking at porn? Are you looking at podcasts where all the women and men do is argue? And then so that way when you're on a date, oh my gosh, there has been people where they like told me about a date and how it like would go south, and a lot of the dates that this person would go on would go south because they would just get into arguments with the guy that they were on a date with, and it became to the point where like they were consistently always getting into it with guys, and it's like because they kind of had like a traumatic experience with men in the past, and then the content that's consumed and a lot of stuff that goes viral is stuff that is negative about men and women, which is really sad because relationships are beautiful. Like the planet literally survived off of men and women being together, having families, and families linking up and building communities. Like, so anything like that, you're taking an L. You're taking a straight up L on yourself. Even if you're watching it for entertainment, like if I'm scrolling and I see like a guy starting to bash a girl, done. Completely, I'll even unfollow or like tell like the algorithm that I don't want to see. It's like, it'll say it's like a button where you can say not interested in this kind of stuff. A girl talking crap about a guy. It's all disgusting. It's ridiculous. It's immature, and it's like, what are you really doing, right? What are you really doing with your life if you're just consuming content about men and women bashing each other, or one sex being worse than the other in a certain area, and then you go on a date and then you're wondering why the dates like don't work, or like they fizzle, the fling fizzles out really quickly. Well, that because you're not. What are you doing with this? Like, what's the purpose? Like, do you want to end up, is there a destination, right? And if you're like in your 18, 19, 20, have fun, be very, like, respect your body, respect yourself, but go to the movies, have fun. Obviously that's I only have a few people that watch me that are that young, but if you're like 26 and up, you got to get it together. Like, the content is really, really disgusting out there these days of the male bashing. And if you're 20, like between 20 and 30, and you're watching content like that, I'm telling you, you are doing yourself a disservice for your 30-year-old self, your 40-year-old self, and your 50-year-old self. Because that kind of content, it didn't exist like 10 years ago. So there's a lot of conditioning, and we're going to see the damage of these podcasts that are just like men and women bashing. We'll see it 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and we were already kind of headed in not the best direction, with the divorce rate in the United States. I actually heard that it's getting better, but, I don't have any stats to back any of that up. But I do know overall it wasn't looking hot for marriages. So now with the wave, with the revolution of podcasts, which is a beautiful thing on one end because people are connecting better and more than ever. We're learning so much about each other and cultures and mindsets, but then there's always a duality. On the bad side, it's like there's a lot of shitty content out there too. So what are you looking at with your eyes? Stop looking at, like, I get it, it's entertaining, but it's unhealthy, and it's going to really mess you up, and you will subconsciously play out some weird scenarios from those podcasts in it. So for example, if you hear like the guys say something that like you saw on a podcast and you saw how the girl reacted, like you could end up reacting like that depending on where your maturity is. Seriously. Especially because a lot of people, I don't know why this is, and I think that, okay, so this is just, again, my opinion. So definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments, but people are craving guidance. So that's why they're going to the internet, they're typing in dating advice, or how to be on a date, or how to date a girl, how to date a guy. But before the internet, you couldn't do that. You couldn't go to the internet and just Google that stuff, and millions of podcasts wouldn't pop up. Well, it wasn't even there to Google, and so it just didn't exist. So you went to people you knew for advice. And most of the time, what people were doing was going to wise counsel, right? And then you would go to people, hopefully, again, everyone's different with the communities that they grew up in, and some, we know that there's differences, there's a variation. But in general, you may have known someone that's like married at work that's like 15 years older than you, and you're asking them for advice, or your boss, or not really your boss, but an uncle, an aunt, maybe a neighbor that you've had for years, your best friend's mom, that's like another mother figure. There was other people around that was giving more sound advice, wise advice. Now it's just a shit show. And so please, if you are trying to get healthy with your mind and your body, the content, what you consume, is literally reprogramming you more than you think. So shut it off. Okay, so moving further down, I literally said start from head to toe. If you're a single person, get all this together before you start going on dates. Like, you might even want to pause for 3 weeks and maybe like write out all this stuff and just kind of get yourself in order before you start going on dates. So mouth, skin, right? Do you feel, so we're gonna do the body and the mind. So the body part, the physical, what does your skin look like? Do you feel confident with your skin? Like for me, I went through a really, really tough time with my skin. It was horrible. And it really messed with my confidence. I can't even lie. I was like, I had never had bad skin before. And I don't even want to call it bad skin because it makes it seem like, oh, it's bad. So when you're going out in public, you're like, oh, my skin's bad. So people aren't going to like, they're probably looking at my bad skin. Like, there's all this mental stuff that starts happening. So what's your skin looking like? For me, when I was having skin issues, I literally didn't want to leave the house. The masks, like during the 2020 situation, the masks completely messed up my skin. I would get jealous, like literally, of other people. I'm like, how can you wear the mask for 8 hours and it does not do anything. You don't have a breakout, you don't have nothing. For me, I think I was allergic to like the actual chemicals on those like the medical masks, whatever the material was, and then like whatever chemical they were using to make that material, it completely messed up my skin to the point where I ended up getting pitted skin, and I still have it. And I had never, that was not something I ever had. It doesn't run in my family. Like it had never, it was not a thing. And so it really did mess with my confidence. So I had to really like learn to tap into another layer of confidence, and then while on the journey of getting my skin together. So again, what's your skin looking like? You know, how do you do your, as a woman, how do you, for men, you know, I know guys that do have self-conscious issues about their skin too. You know, their beard, what's your beard looking like? What's your mustache looking like? What's your skin looking like? Like get that in order. Go to a dermatologist, get some skincare stuff, which I'll do a skincare video, because my skin really has healed, and I do want to share my journey on the pitted skin, because I was like dealing with that in the stage of life that I'm in now. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for everyone I ever saw in junior high, high school, college that dealt with pitted skin. I just was like, oh my gosh, like I just kind of like would empathize with them, because like, you know, of course the natural like breakouts that everyone kind of goes through, like little here, little there, but I like the serious acne, I did not. I have so much, like my heart hurts for little boys and girls that have to deal with that, and it's already hard enough being a teenager, but then having to deal with pitted skin, I like, whoa. So I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that. So again, if you're single, get your skin together. You know, are you not looking people in the eye anymore because it's weird. Like I'll tell you my personal experience with this. Like I noticed that my eye contact kind of like started to drop, because just looking away doesn't mean people still can't see my skin. But so I would be like over analyzing if people were staring at my skin, you know, and then I would be like looking at them, and then I would kind of like not want to look if they're like looking. It was just getting weird. Okay. Anyone that has dealt with like bad acne or pitted skin knows what I'm talking about. And so I was like, okay, Ciana, I had to literally talk to myself and journal about this. I said, okay, this is a reality. All you can do is find a solution for your skin. So, you know, get with a dermatologist. So now I've been doing microneedling, and that has really massively helped me out. So I will, again, do another video on that. So again, that's a sore point for me, but what's going on with your skin? What's going on with your smile? What's going on with your teeth? What's going on with your hygiene in your mouth? What's going on with, you know, your nose? What's going on with your, you know, do you have mucus and stuff like that? Like, I know that's gross, but again, like I said earlier, I'm usually a lot more blunt with the people that I know, so I'm going to be more blunt. I'm going to try to bring out more of my blunt side in these videos. But like, what is going on? Like hygiene, skin, like, you know, bloodshot eyes, like what's going on? So get that all together. Get that all together. If you need to go whiten your teeth, if you need to get a new toothpaste, if you need to make sure you need to schedule in some dental appointments before worried about going on no date. It's like you have cavities in your mouth, you got you know, root canals you got to figure out. Like, get that together before you start dating. That is just my honest opinion. And you know, I don't really know what else to say about that other than get confident with that kind of stuff. Because, you know, and it is really sad. It's sad. Like, I've heard some bad, like, really embarrassing stories of people. And I've always been really, really, really into hygiene and into, like, beauty and, like, stuff like that. And I think it's because, number one, I saw my grandma and my mom into it. So, just since I was a baby. And then, number two, all the jobs I've ever had or teams I've been on had to do with beauty. Like, it had to do with what I look like. I was a professional dancer. I worked at jobs where I was a promo model, you know, at times. So I had to pay attention to all that stuff. So on top of it just being a passion of mine anyway. So, but I have, you know, guy friends of mine, girlfriends of mine, like, oh my God, his, you know, his breath or his teeth, or like, you know, oh my God, her tongue was like completely like yellow with the paste on it. Like, just gross, like crazy stuff, right? you know, stuff in people's nose. And like, again, the people don't know you. So when you're going out and you're dating, they're sizing you up. And if you're not like looking in the mirror, checking those things out, making sure you're on point for yourself, it's, you know, that can be a perception that you put out there in the world. And then you're wondering why, you know, you're having problems with dating, but it could be, you know, you never know. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. You might want to just do a double, triple, quadruple check on those things. So that's the physical. And then on the mind part, on the mind and spirit part, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So are you always complaining about men? Okay, with me, I think I hate it. I think it's disgusting. I love men. I love my uncles in my family. I love my grandfather, you know, God bless his heart, rest in peace. You know, I love my dad. I love my brothers. I love my close friends that I consider, I only have like 2 close friends that I would consider like a brother that I've known for like 15, 20 years. I don't throw around the brother thing too comfortably. But like, I think it's disgusting when like women can just talk so much crap about men, and then like you have a brother, you have a dad, you have an uncle, like I don't get it. And then if it's always an issue with men, like what are you doing to attract those men? Because I don't attract men that are trash. Oh my God, all the guys I date are trash. Well, why is the trash even attracted to, like, are you a fly? Like, are you, you know what I mean? Or opposite, are you really the trash? Same thing with men. Like, why is every woman you are with, she's a BIT, she ends up being a BITCH. She ends up being trash. She ends up being annoying. She ends up being, it's like, well, if you're consistently attracting those attributes, then you have to look at yourself. So what are you talking about? Are you gossiping about the opposite sex? Are you regurgitating stuff that you were watching that you probably shouldn't have really been watching about the what is it called, the gender war stuff? All that stuff is whack. All that stuff is trash. All that stuff is trash. Gossiping about men and women, trash. Like, what? Why are you going on dates to then only end up wanting to talk crap about men or women, like, and just like talk about your failed dates? Like, it's just, it's a reflection on you. So again, that it rewind everything. It goes back to, what are you really doing? Are you dating as a 30-year-old to just like live it up, have fun? No judgment, but like, what are you really doing? Again, you don't really need dating advice if you're like just doing it with no end purpose. Just be yourself. Go on the dates, live moment to moment, have fun, you know, be yourself, do your thing, show up confident. I think dating advice comes in when there is the steps of dating to get you to marriage, right? That's what I look at. Like, I look at content that only from married people that are giving advice about dating. I don't listen to people that are not married about dating, because I want to be married. So, and I'm very clear on that. So I don't listen to anything else, anybody else that's anything outside of that. Like, I'm very clear, so I don't have to be divided. Like, a lot of people end up being divided because they're looking at like all this like pieced together content. It's so unhealthy. Like, the amount of content we're listening to is so unhealthy. So don't do that to yourself. Find like 2, 3 solid married couples or solid professional marriage counselors who are married online, and for me specifically, that are God-based, because again, that's like what I aspire to have. And that's what you listen to. That's the content that you consume. You will not hear those people bashing each other. You will not hear a man talking down about a woman. You will not hear a woman talking down about a man. If anything, it's like, it's constant refinement of the gender that they are. Well, I gotta level up this. I gotta level up my communication. I gotta level up my standard, you know, and how I present myself or what I want out of a woman. I gotta level up because I'm attracting the wrong women. Or they're talking about compromises or problem solving, or, you know, seeing the other person's side, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's progressive, healthy content. So please don't ask me about dating advice. I will not give you dating advice. I will just direct you to other married people that are talking about dating who are married. That's the only thing I can do. So just being honest. Because I've seen a lot of people ask me about dating, and I'm like, that is so interesting that they're asking a single person about dating. It's like people just want to like hear more answers with like no real end game, or with no real solution oriented, like, okay, I need to really massively change in this area. So it's concerning. I'm like, that is so interesting. I'm totally not like a dating page. Anyway, so that's with the face, with the mind, body, soul, with what you're talking about, what you're seeing, what your mind is, intaking, all the stuff you're consuming. And with your mouth, this also has to do with, what are you eating? What are you putting in your mouth? Like, do you feel good about your weight? Do you feel good about your body? Okay. When you show up on a date, those things matter. If you're really self-conscious about your weight, or your body shape, or whatever, then we'll get to it. Kind of the reason why, I guess it's like your body, like your physical torso and your legs and your mouth, because it's like what you put in your mouth is obviously going to have a serious, huge effect on your what you look like physically, straight up. That's just what it is. So if you're always like going on a date, about to go on a date, and you're like, I don't have anything to wear, I hate what I look like, I look like trash, I look like shit, I look like, well, maybe you don't need to go on a date. Do a 6-month shutdown and get confident, and then start going on dates. Okay? Because that energy will show up on a date. Like, and you're constantly tugging at yourself or constantly pulling stuff down. I know for me, I have like this thing where I'm always touching my hair. It's something I'm working on. It's just a habit. I think it has to do with just like it just being a habit. And I think it's a little bit of a nervous habit, but it's not always a nervous reaction. Sometimes it's just like literally because I talk with my hair. So anyways, when I try to be conscious of that, like if you're on a date with a guy and you're like constantly doing this every 5 seconds, like that's whack. Like if the guy was doing that, he was like constantly touching his hair, or constantly like trying to make sure his fade was down, or constantly like that's like weird, right? So make sure you are confident with yourself, and that way when you show up, and it doesn't mean you have to look a certain way or like fit a certain standard, beauty standard of society. It's just for you. So start looking up different outfits that like are really flattering on your body shape, right? Like do a whole week where you just research different tops, different bottoms, different colors, different, what looks good on your skin tone, what looks good with all these things. And I've done all this stuff. That's why like I'm talking about it, because it really does show up when you are on a date and maybe you felt like, okay, you gained 10, 15 pounds. Maybe you might want to scale back, get your health back together where you want it, and then start dating again. So that way you can show up as yourself and not be thinking about, okay, well, I gained 10 pounds, or this is what I've heard women do. And I just, like, I've been on a double date before where like the woman was like talking about what she used to look like oh yeah, I used to have like what Ciana has, or I used to have a flatter stomach, or I used to have, and it just is like, it just automatic, and this is the straight up truth, it just automatically knocks you down a couple points, because the guy could not have even thought about anything that you're saying. Like he probably was like, dang, she looks good, da 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 da. And then the woman, because she knows that she's on at her best, she starts downing herself like, oh yeah, I gained some weight, so I'm just gonna have a salad today. Like don't. It's cringy. Don't do it. If you're a thick, voluptuous, gorgeous woman, show up like that. Like, yep, God bless you with this voluptuous body. For yourself, maybe you gained 10, 15 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is not dating advice. This is for yourself. Like, so you can show up in the world feeling your best. Even if you're going into a job, an event, a date, whatever. This is for you to heal the way that you see yourself, the way that you perceive yourself. Okay? If you're super skinny and you don't like that, show up first of all, wear outfits that like where you'll feel super confident and not be like so worried about being so thin. And then look up, ways to start to, gain some muscle as you're on this journey of dating, right? But don't bring those things up, and just be confident that if the guy or the girl is on the date with you, they know what you look like. Unless it's a catfish, that's a whole nother story. We do live in catfish world now, which it's kind of interesting because it's like, kind of, how can you get catfished? That's a whole other topic. That's like requires a whole other video. But because I feel like people are like have catfish training now in general, but maybe not. I don't know. So body, okay, and then body on the inside. So your heart. How's your heart? Okay, like, are you bitter? Are you in pain, like, from your past? Like, are you holding heavy trauma? How's your nervous system doing, right? Like, how do you think about the world? How do you think about people? And like, you can actually think like with your heart, like, it's like, oh, my heart, oh my God, that touched my heart. Like, how is your heart? Oh, that really, like, oh, they have a piece of my heart, right? Like, and we're like, what are we really saying when we mean that? Well, it's really like an energetic thing. It's real, I actually heard this on Covered by God, which, go to that page, powerful page, all about God, Covered by God. And she was talking about how she saw something where like this man, or this younger guy got a transplant from another older man, a new heart. And once the younger guy got the heart, all of a sudden the guy was, because unfortunately there was an accident, the older gentleman passed away, and so this younger guy got the heart. Well, the younger gentleman ended up being like obsessed with, like, let's just say it was like the saxophone. And then the family of the guy that passed away was like, oh my gosh, he loved the saxophone. Like, that was his life. Like, that was his love, right? Like, he played it every day. So we hold that in I totally got that example from Covered by God. So it's powerful YouTube page. But we hold stuff, like, we hold energy, we hold memories, we hold emotions in our heart. Okay. So what's your heart like? Do you need to heal your heart? Like, do you go on a date and you're already looking for, like, like you're not really present. Like, you're is this going to go wrong? All my dates have been crappy. I just had the worst luck. Like, what is your heart like? Okay. So that has to do with your physical part, but on the spiritual side, what's your relationship with God? Like, do you got a relationship with God? What's going on with that? Like, because those topics do come up on dates, on in life. And if you do want to end up with a partner that you're with for a lifetime, a husband, a wife, then those are things you need to get together. Are you divided in that area? Get clear, starting from head to toe. Get clear, okay? Moving further down, again, just your whole body. What's the whole body looking like? What's your health like? Have you gotten your levels checked? Have you gotten your blood sugar checked? Have you gotten your vitamin and minerals checked? Have you gone for a checkup in a while? Right? As a woman, have you done your womanly checkups? As a man, have you done your man checkups? Like, get all that stuff in order. Like, don't just go on dates and then have all these affairs that you need to like make sure are in order. Sometimes if you wanted to tell people, and again, I really refrain from giving dating advice, but it's like, you got to clear up yourself. You got to get right with yourself first. And then when you show up anywhere, it only can be a start it good, where it's like, maybe you didn't connect with the person, but you know what? Damn it. I showed up. I was confident. We had a great conversation. I had some great food. It was a really pleasant time. And if, you don't connect with them, they don't connect with you, you move on to the next one, but you're like, you got yourself together. You're showing up. All your affairs are in order. You don't have no cavities in your mouth. Like, I'm being serious. Like, don't show up on a date with, like, a bunch of root canals that you got to get fixed, or you got to get your gut health together. Your gut's a mess, and you're like, can't even go on a date and enjoy a date because you can't eat nothing because your gut's always out of whack. Or you, all of a sudden you eat something and you're like, dang, I shouldn't eat. You're complaining, like, my gut's not together. My gut, you know, get your gut health together. Get your digestive system together. Like, seriously, right? It really does play on our emotions as well. Like, if you're on a date and you only feel like you can only ever order salads, like, you know, we gotta figure out what's going on with that. If you feel subconscious about that, you know, I know a lot of women, this is interesting. I don't know if I don't think every man feels this way, but I have heard men do really pay attention to how you eat, like what you're eating. And this doesn't mean that there's a standard for that, but like, if you're, okay, this is just to keep it real. Again, this is just in my community in LA, what I've heard from a couple of guys. This is not the law, okay? But I have heard a couple of guys be like, dang, you know, I enjoy when a woman like enjoys food, because that's a big part of what you do in relationships. You're going to eat a lot together, right? But if you're just like ordering 2 entrees, like ordering a bunch of stuff and then you're taking it to go, men pay attention to stuff like that. It's not a good look. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to order this and a plate for tomorrow. Like, just don't do that. I don't know who needed to hear that, but just don't do that. Like, that's tacky. Like, just don't do that. So can I go? I don't think I can go. What else? But also too, you don't want to be so restrictive, right? So like, okay, well, I can only eat salads. And then say you go on a date with this guy 3, 4, 5 times and he really likes you, and it's like, oh, well, why are you only eating salads? And you don't want to tell him, oh, I have gut health issues. You know what I'm saying? So like, get that stuff together. Like, men and women, get it together. Get your exams, get the teeth, get the mind, body, soul, get out the residue of what you went through in the past, what you went through with the ex, what you went through, like, just can I go? I don't know if I can do that. It is really tricky driving down in Santa Monica. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life if you are worried about dating and your stuff is not in order? Okay, so I didn't even go into like outside of the body, like with your career, with your credit, with what you think about finances, how you're organized, like all that stuff is going to spill over into a relationship if you like can't get it together with your finances, if you can't get it together with what you want to do with your life, if you can't, and doesn't mean like, and if you don't know what you want to do with your life, you can't date, but it does affect you when you are dating. Like, that energy is swirling around where you're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, but then like, you know, but then this, and then you're just like on a date with the opposite sex, whether it's a guy or a girl, you know, and you're just looking kind of lost, you're sounding confused, you're sounding kind of like you need to do some soul searching, you're sounding, you know what I'm saying? You're just sounding like you don't need to be on a date. Like, you're just sounding like you need to take a month, regroup, start dating again. So that's what I want to say. Again, do not seek out dating advice from people that are single. I appreciate people that have asked me about dating advice, because I think that's I'm like, oh, well, you know, maybe I'm reflecting something that like gives off that I would have good dating advice, you know? So I love that. So I don't want to like bash anyone for asking me that, but if I'm just going to be honest with you, that's where your problem is. You need to seek out wise counsel. You need to seek out people that are experts in the area, and you need to get clear on what you want to do with your life in the area of dating. If you want it to be long-term, if you want it to be short-term, what are you doing? Why? If you want it to be short-term, why? Is that really because of trauma? Is that because you're scared of getting your heart broken? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to really dig into those kind of things too. So that's my tidbit for today. I hope you guys have a gorgeous day. I'm on the way to this event. Maybe I'll post a couple of shorts about this event. And make sure to subscribe, make sure to like. I also do have a email list. Sign up with my email list. Stay in contact with me. I have been giving away some really cool prizes. I just love giving stuff away. It's been fun to do. So stay connected with me. I always will email you guys too when I drop a new video or when I'm live. You know, I may hit them, hey guys, I'm going live, and you may not get the notification on YouTube, but then you get the notification because you have my email. And also there's an option for text messaging. It's me. It's literally me. So, you know, you were like, I can't see your, well, actually, no, I can see your number, but I don't give out people's numbers. It's illegal. But I do have a mailing list and oh wait, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's okay. I can do that. I'll do it. I do have an email list and an email like number list that is completely private. It's in the terms and conditions. I use MailChimp, so I will send out text messages when I go live too. So if you're interested in that, tap in. And that's really all I have. I hope you guys have a gorgeous, beautiful day. Send this video to anyone that can really honestly use the advice. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.